afternoon, everyone. This is your boy Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the #1 podcast coming to you live in America. And today, like I promised, we have a very special guest. My guest, he's a mentor, he's a coach. I'm gonna give you a quick snapshot about this man, this incredible man, Mr. Philip Webb, president of PDQ Merchant Enterprises in Johnsburg, Illinois. He's been in ATM business for over 20 plus years. Mr. Philip Webb has written a book and developed an A to Z course along with coaching to the ATM business, covering everything from beginners to intermediates viewpoints. He has continually taught companies how to enter and exit the ATM business and served as a president of the Illinois Coin Commission Association from 2011 to 2014. He is currently the president of the McHenry Chamber Networking MC3 group and a faith formation in a local church. This man is impactful. This man is powerful. This man is dynamic. And today we are going to get the opportunity to interview my special guest, my friend, and growing mentor, as I learned from him as well, in the ATM business. And let's bring him in and please give him a warm welcome. Hearts, likes, circles if you got them. Clap if you can. We can't hear you, but we love to see it. Mr. Philip Webb, the ATM guy. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, it's really an honor and a pleasure here to be here with Mr. Norman's podcast. I can't believe when he asked me, I was so excited about the possibility to do this and be special part of this amazing community. So I just want to say it's really an honor for me to be part of the group here. So thank you very much. You see my green screen, it doesn't work very well. So that's it. That's what's in the back there. But yeah, so yeah, leave it right there. At least it looks better. But I just want to say thank you very much. And it's been a tremendous honor to be part of this community. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I know my audience I've been getting messages all week. Just the excitement, the energy that people want to hear about this. Because most people think that the ATM business is owned by banks and is done by banks. So here you are. We are going to bust that myth wide open, and we're going to start with some questions to get it. Hey, Shamika. Hey, she's saying, hey, everyone. Is there a cost to getting started in the ATM business? And how much money should I have on hand in reserves before getting started?
All right. So what we always do in that situation is my go-to number is $6,000. Okay. You're going to need about $2,500, somewhere between $2,200 and $2,500 for an ATM. You're going to need about $2,000, around $2,000 for to put money in the vault. That's the money that goes in, so you can get your customers can get the money out. And then you're going to need about $1,500. I always built in about for coaching. Okay, I try to build that in. Now you can. Some people decide they're going to go their own route and go through the process, but it usually costs you money to do that. But that's what I always build in, about $6,000 for that whole process. Now keep in mind that $2,000 vault cash money, you're getting that back. So let's say you decide to get out of the ATM business, doesn't work for you. Take that $2,000, sell your ATM for whatever you can get for it, and you're back out. So you're really is about a $6,000 cost of getting into the business, but it's very low key to get in.
So total $6,000 all in. I'm all in, start to finish, and in the business. And how soon can I expect to be making money? Is it right away?
So you just, as soon as you place your first ATM on location, then you'll be making money. How that process works is you place the ATM, and there's a whole lot of steps to go before you get there. But once you get an ATM in a location, you will be making money the next day. So you'll place the money in, a card holder will come in, take money out, and let's say it's a $3 surcharge, and depending on what you split, but let's say you give 50 cents. I always give an example, 50 cents back to the store owner, $2.50 will now go in your pocket, and you'll get that money back the next day.
What? So check that out, y'all. Did you hear it from the man, the myth, the legend himself? Making money day one, right out the gate. what are some things to consider before I even getting started and decide to get in the game? Do I need to establish a LLC? Do I need to establish a business account? What things should I have ready before even jumping in and going in?
Okay, so what you want to do is you want to set up, the first thing you want to do is you want to set up a corporation. Okay, now people who decide, oh, I want to research this, maybe they go to YouTube, maybe they go somewhere else, they'll hear the term LLC. That's a loose term. I don't like using that term LLC because it gives an impression that as soon as I get an LLC set up, I'm good in the game, but it's not true. You still have to file as a corporation or a sole proprietor. Now, what happens is people get confused because the initials LLC stands for Limited Liability Corporation. And when they do that, they're like, oh, I'm good. No, you just stamp the name onto your business, LLC. Now, at the end of the year, you got to file. The tax attorney or accountant will tell you, oh, until you make money, they're trying to protect you. Until you make money, stay as a sole proprietor. But you miss all these tax advantages by staying as sole proprietor. So what I always suggest is let's forget about the LLC. Let's file a S corporation, and now you're an S corp. You're incorporated business. So that would be this first step. Then the second step, and I don't want to get anybody twisted here. If you were an LLC, you didn't do anything wrong. You're just going to tell your attorney or accountant or the state secretary of state, I want to file as an S corp. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Okay.
That does make sense.
So now the second step would be you're going to get a business bank account. You'll take your corporation papers down to your local bank, and you'll open up a business checking account. I always tell people 3: one for your business checking, your general checking account, one for your surcharge, and number 3 is for your vault cash.
And those 3 accounts need to be at the same bank? Can they be at separate banks? Is it wise to keep it all in one bank, or should I kind of move it around and incorporate at different locations? Can the bank be online?
So the bank, okay, so for general checking, that could be at a different bank. But for vault cash, you have to pick a bank that you can physically go to and vault. We deem it vault cash. That's the money you're going to put into your ATM. We label that vault cash. Okay, and that should be at a bank that somewhere close where you can go a couple times a week, pull the money out, and now you're going to take that money and place it into your ATM. So that would be, I would always keep that as close as you can to where you live, so it's not too far to travel. And sometimes you're going to have a challenge, like the bigger banks, the Chases, the U.S. Bank, the Wells Fargo, the Bank of America. They're not real familiar, or they're familiar with the ATM business. They don't like it. So you have to go to, let's say, I call it stage 2, a local credit union and or savings bank, or a local hometown bank. So that's really who you're going to do business with, just to let you know.
Perfect. So did you guys catch that? So the closer to home you want that bank, the money that your profits, I'll call them profits in this instance, but the money from the surcharge that you're collecting, that can be at the online bank, physical bank, your mom's bank, wherever. But the vault cash, the money that is actually going into the machine on a consistent basis, I want y'all to catch that, because I don't want you guys to miss that, has to be local. Right? A lot of people mess that up. It has to be a local bank that you can go and physically drive to, right? You don't want to be sitting there having all the vault cash go to your bank online, and then you got to be transferring money. That's your machine could be running empty, or it can be empty, and now you're waiting from this transfer from your online bank to come in. So that's crucial, and that's powerful. And he's just dropping nuggets for us. Y'all share, subscribe. You're not going to get this anywhere else except in Mr. Phillips' class, A to Z. He also has a book coming out, but we'll get to that. Dropping nuggets. We have a question right out the gate. So I'm going to take this question and throw it to you. So how do you choose an ATM location? Great question, Shanique. Great question. How do you choose an ATM location?
Okay, so the number one way you choose an ATM is you got to solve a problem. So I'm gonna go back a little here in the story, and I'm gonna not give a highlight reel, as my friend would say. I'm gonna give you a long story. So here is my story and how it relates to this particular situation. I was in the music and games business, which meant I put jukeboxes, pool tables, pinballs in bars and restaurants. Is where I started out in the game. And I would go to this location once a week, and I would collect the equipment. And what would happen is, when I was there, the owner, he was opening up his mail and was yelling at his mail. He said, I'm tired of this, and he was screaming. And his name was Patty. And I said, Patty, why are you screaming at your mail? It doesn't make any sense. And he would say, it happens to me every week, Phil, and I'm tired of it. And I said, well, what happens? He said, well, and this was 20 years ago, so remember this way back in the day. He said, people come into my bar and restaurant, and they're a little short on their money. So what they do is they say, can I borrow $50, $100 to payday? And I could use it to have some food, have some cocktails. And he said, no problem. You know what? Write me a $50 check, and I'll hold it. And then you just tell me when to put it in. I'll put it in, and then we'll be square. He said, all right. So just hold it for a week. So they write him a $50 check. He would hold it a little more than a week, and he put it in. And not everybody, but a few people, it would bounce. So he would call them up. Hey, your check bounced. What should I do? They wouldn't answer the phone. So he knows some of their friends. They hangs out. He would say, hey, get a hold of Joe. He owes me a little money. Can we square up? And they would say, you know what? I don't know. Joe won't answer my calls. So then he would take the check. He put it on the back of the bar to embarrass them a little, to get their attention, and to say, hey, I saw your name up on the back of the bar. And what would happen is they still wouldn't come up. He said, so Phil, here's what the problem is. I'm bouncing checks at the bank. They owe me the money, and I'm losing a customer, and I'm just tired of this. And I said, wait a minute. I got an idea. I said, what if I can keep your customer, you don't have to bounce checks, and you don't lose money. He said, how much is that program going to cost me? If I can do that, I'm all in. And I said, I'll tell you what, it's not going to cost you anything. What we're going to do, we'll put an ATM in your place. The customer can go now get money out of the ATM if they got it. And now you don't have to cash checks. He says, oh, I love it. I said, and I'll pay you. He goes, keep your money. I don't even want it. I just don't want to take checks anymore. So this was back in the day when we didn't, people were writing checks. But what happened is now we solved the problem. And to answer your problem, the question is, you got to solve a problem. So it doesn't make sense if you're just going to put an ATM, let's say in a tire shop. You have to put an ATM in a place where it solves a problem. They need a cash solution. Maybe it's a cash only restaurant, or it's a fast food place that's cash only. Maybe it's a laundromat that, you have to get money in order to go to the changer and get change to put into the laundry machines. So you have to solve a problem. If we solve a problem, now it makes sense to put an ATM into that business.
Absolutely. And Shanique, great question, Mr. Phillip. That's a powerful answer, because I don't think anyone in the industry even considers it in that light. You have to solve a problem. I've seen ATMs just in my regular commute in the weirdest places, right? In the vape shops, in the tattoo parlors, and just a junkyard. I saw an ATM in a junkyard, and it was a very strange, you wouldn't think to look there. So I can't imagine how busy those machines are, or how not busy they are, because you didn't solve a equation. You didn't solve a problem for them.
There are so many people that I on YouTube, or I listen through in the groups, and what happens is they get into the game, and then they're not making money because they put an ATM in a place that isn't solving a problem. So they put it into, let's say, a restaurant that takes credit cards, and they're not, and it's a high-end dining place, and they don't make money. Or they put it into a barber shop that the guy's taking Venmo or Cash App or Square or something, and he's like, I don't know what happened. I thought a barber shop would be good, Phil. Well, it might have been if you had 8 chairs and they weren't taking anything but cash. That's a home run. But now it's not. So you just got to be conscious. You need a couple things in the ATM business. You need a lot of traffic, and you got to solve a problem, whatever that problem is.
Powerful. Powerful. Shanique is on fire today. She is she's been I told you they were excited for you. I told you they were. What security procedures or practices for refilling your ATM should you consider?
Okay. So number one, if you have, let's say, more than one ATM, you want to go at different times of the day and different days of the week. Okay. So if you're going to, number one, you want to alternate your route. That's number one. Number two, you want to be low key when you go in there. You go in, you sneak in. It only takes about 5 minutes to fill an ATM. So you just want to be low key, go in. Sometimes it depends on the neighborhood. It depends on your level of comfort. You might bring two people. Okay. So it's you and another person, maybe a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, couple friends. It depends on what your friendship level is, but a lot of times you do that. The other thing is, and I just, some people, they carry a little security, firearms, something like that. They do that. Okay. It depends on the neighborhood. It depends on where you're going. It depends on what your level of comfort is. I can tell you, I could share you a story. I've been into a place a bunch of times, and we would walk in, and it was a bar, and the place had 10, 15 people, and the bartender would go, "Hey, it's the money guy."
Oh my
God. So I would do my deal, and I'd go over there and pull her aside in the background and say, "Please don't ever do that. I'm trying to be, you want to go like this? You want to give me one of these? You want to tip your cap? I see you. I know, because I don't want anybody to be drawing attention to me, what we're driving, where we're at, how much money. I'm low key. I got to be in and out. And that's it. So that's those are all security things. The other thing you do, if you feel, everybody's got that feeling inside, if you pull into a spot and you don't feel safe, go around the block, go do something else and come back, because you can feel it. And you know what? Just be safe. You are carrying money. It is a risk.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Great question, Shanique. That is powerful. And thank you, Mr. Phil. That makes sense. Switch it up, right? Change it up. Don't get in the pattern of showing up every day on Wednesday at 10 a.m. right? People are watching. You're carrying cash on you. Remember, $6,000 to get started in this business. So right off the bat, you're a cash business. This is a cash business. Should I buy so now I got my $6,000. I'm ready to get in the game. I've taken your course. You're mentoring me. You're coaching me.
Yes.
But I found a ATM that someone's selling on eBay or Amazon.
Okay.
To save on that startup cost, because there's always a startup cost to business. Do you recommend I buy a cheaper ATM on eBay or Amazon or Alibaba or something? Because your company sells them as well, right?
Yes. So we sell ATMs. We do the processing for your ATM. So what happens is, the way it works is, you place an ATM into a location. Before you do that, you need to set the ATM. Comes pretty much like a blank computer. Okay, it has an operating system on it, but we got to program. We got to put some additional software devices on top of it. Something to communicate between the card holder and their bank. Okay, so what we do is, you give us information, name and a location, how much the surcharge is, who the money is going to, if it's going some to the location, some to you, what your bank account is. We take all that information, put it in a database. It spits out what we call MAC encryption keys and and how to program the ATM. We program that ATM, and now it's ready to be placed in that location. Once it's in that location, now what happens is, a cardholder can take their card, put it in the ATM, and if you picture from 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock like a clock, when people put the card in from 12 to 6, it's calling the processor, which calls the bank to verify the funds, and then from 6 to 12, it's releasing the cash funds. Okay, that's how the ATM works. And so so that was the pre-story. What was the question? I'm sorry, I want to give you the pre-story.
No, should I buy an ATM off Amazon? I've taken your course. I'm ready to go.
Right. So the reason I tell you that story is because now you have to know what is, most of the time when somebody's selling a used ATM online, they're selling old technology that isn't upgraded. in 2017, EMV was mandated. EMV stands for Euro, MasterCard, Visa. And when those cards mandated this, they have to be what they call compliant. And so a lot of the older ATMs weren't compliant. So now they're selling them on eBay. So what you're thinking, oh, I'm saving, let's call it $1,500, $1,800 in this. You're not, because those ATMs now have to be upgraded to the latest grade software. And depending on, some of them couldn't be, and some of them could be, but it might cost you $1,000 to upgrade. Now you have a keypad that hasn't been plugged in. The battery goes dead. Keypad doesn't work. That's an extra cost. So you have some extra costs associated with an older ATM. And if you don't know the business, you don't know what you're buying. So I always say, until you've been in the game for a while, you always buy new. Now you got a new product, you know exactly it works. And if it doesn't work, let's say you bought it from us, we can talk you through. It's under warranty, it's fixable, and we can ship you a part, or we can fix it for you. So, but if it's old, I don't know what's wrong, and you won't know if there's something wrong or not, or it's something you did because you're new in the game. So you should always buy new to avoid any kind of headaches. Plus, you put the ATM in, you're telling the store owner you're an expert in the business, and now that thing doesn't work for 2, 3, sometimes 4 days or a week, you don't look professional. So we want to avoid all those problems by buying new. You pay a little bit more. Keep in mind, when you get into something new, you pay a little bit higher cost of entry, but we're here to make money and not lose money. So you won't save if you go the cheap route in the long run, guaranteed.
So that's perfect. So that's sounding like we're business owners, right? We are now in the game, and we're business owners, and we're partnering with you, and you're teaching and educating us. Yep. So it doesn't pay to cut costs, y'all. That's what he's saying. And EMV chip, he's talking about the chips, you guys. EMV chip enabled. There are some people who are in the business, and they're trying to offload old equipment. And so they're trying to pawn off a discounted machine that doesn't have that chip enabled card reader inside the ATM. So yeah, you saved $200, $300 on the machine, on the what Mr. Phillip talked about, the machine, but now you have to spend $500, $600 because it's required in 2017. It's required that all card swiping must be chip enabled. All processing must be chip enabled. Right. So that's what Mr. Phillips talking about.
Right. So what does that mean? I just want to go over. This is what it means. What they did is they shifted what they call liability. Okay. So now if a customer goes over to your machine that's not EMV upgraded, they take $200 out. That customer can actually go and file a dispute with their bank, even though they got the money, even though you got proof that they got the money. It doesn't matter. The bank says you're not EMV upgraded. You inherit the liability. So now what happens is the customer gets $200 out of your machine, disputes it with the bank, and guess what? You got to pay them another $200. So now you lost $200. And believe me, there's people out there looking for that. They're making money every week just doing that. And they go 200, 200, 200, $1,000. And now the next thing you do, they file a dispute and you lose $1,000 like that, just like that. And that's not what you're here. You're here to make money for your family, create generational wealth, and you just smoked $1,000. So you don't want to do that.
Ouch. This is powerful, y'all. See, spilling the tea, y'all. Mr. Phillip is here. He's serving in his community. He's giving back, and he's teaching. He has a course. Get his course. Here's a unique question. So Mr. Dwayne Deans asked, any specific kind to buy? There are varying models I can imagine. I'm sure there's not one size fits all. But any specific kind works best, Mr. Phillip?
So there's pretty much 4 brands out there. There's a brand called Paloon. They're new to the game, probably been in the game about 4 years. It's a good ATM. You got Triton's been there for about 20 plus years. You got Nautilus Yosung's been there about almost about 17 years. And you got Gen Mega, which is a spinoff of Nautilus Yosung, a very great company. And they've been there for maybe about 10 years. I'm not defined on those terms, so don't hold me to the flame on that one. But we're pretty close to those numbers. And so I deal with every and all the brands. I have a particular favorite. My favorite is Knowledge Yosung, and that just stems from when there was another brand we were into. They're gone. It was NCR. They're no longer in business for ATMs, but when we were using there. And then back in about 2002, we had to make a decision, and we chose Knowledge Yosung as who we did. And so I just stayed with that brand. They're all good. I used every one of them. I just have a particular favorite. I mean, like a Chevy, you got Chevy, Ford, Dodge. I'm just a Chevy guy. So that's what it is. Knowledge Yosung, same thing. They're all good machines. To be honest with you, and they all got good support. They got their pros and cons each one. So, but that's my particular favorite, if you're asking.
But you all, I hope you all caught that, right? Even though he has a particular favorite, he has experience with all the brands. Mm-hmm. And so this is the man you want to connect yourself with when you're getting started, because I guarantee you, I promise you, I experienced it for myself. This man's wisdom comes in handy, and it saves your bacon in a crunch. So many different brands. Great question, Mr. Dwayne. Great question. Tell
us the story, how we met. Tell us the story.
So we met, Mr. Phillip and I met because I got jammed up. I was in a time crunch. I had a delivery the next morning, and I didn't, it was late at night, and I didn't know what to do. I had a machine that it was not the cassette. Each machine has a cassette, and there are removable and there's not removable cassettes. I always opt for the removable. The cassette where you put your money in, where you put your vault cash in, it wasn't coming out. It was not coming out of the machine. And I have to make this delivery early in the morning to this brand new location, this brand new owner, and the cassette was not coming out, and I need to fill it with cash. So when I deliver it, I'm ready to go. The machine is ready to go, and all I have to do is install it and leave. I call Philip. I think it was midnight. I think it was midnight, and I sent a text, not expecting a response, and he responded. He called me. He allowed me to call and send pictures and FaceTime a little bit, and his knowledge that quick, he was like, "Oh yeah, that machine," and then him and his team brainstormed for like, I think 10 seconds, and they were like, "Oh, there's a screw right here. Take out this screw." And I said, "What? There's no." And I saw it was a tiny screw. When they deliver the machine, it comes when Mr. Phillip delivers the machine, it comes to you. And so for safety, he bolts the cassette down so it doesn't slam around when it's delivering. And ever since then, I've been stuck on him like white on rice, because that knowledge, that expertise, that level of 20 years all came out in that 5-10 seconds and saved me. And so that's how we met. And
it was almost like that, it was almost like that State Farm. My wife's like, "Who are you talking to?" I go, "At midnight?" Yeah. But, give me that phone. No, but she didn't say that. But it was just like that. What are you wearing?
Khakis.
Yeah.
And an ATM. Great question. That's how we met, y'all. So you're not gonna regret it. Wealth of knowledge. Ooh, she jumped right into it. Miss Shanique Henry is on fire today. What happens if the ATM is stolen?
Oh, it's not a good day.
It's not a good day. It's not a good day. But there are safeguards.
Yeah. So here's what happens is when I first got in the game, be 100% honest, we didn't have insurance on the ATMs. We looked at putting on insurance on it, and it wasn't something that I was comfortable with because the cost was very exorbitant. So I said, well, I'll just self-insure. And we were very successful over a lot of years. I didn't have an ATM that was stolen, but we did get an ATM that was stolen. And then after that, I said, you know what? I'm going to look at getting insurance, and we did. So we put insurance on the ATM. For the ATM, you can insure the money in the ATM too. You can have a deductible, but you can insure it. Now, if the ATM is stolen and you're not insured, you're out the cost of the ATM and the cost of the money inside. Sometimes the business owner will have insurance for their property, and you can go through their insurance, and the business owner will give you some of the money from that. Sometimes they don't give you the money. Sometimes they just keep the money if they insure it under their, but that's what you do. Pretty much you're going to get insurance for the ATM. And what does that look like? There, you can get insurance. It'll cost you up to $500 for a year with a deductible. It depends on what you want to cover, and they'll insure up to 3 ATMs. Okay, so
Wow.
that's what I would. I mean, in the beginning, I'm trying to cut costs. It doesn't now, and I will be 100% before. You know, we have some challenges right now in our society. What's going on, and if you're in different cities, it's a little dicey because of what's going on. However, before that, it does happen every once in a while. What you want to do is you want to bolt your ATM down, always bolt it down, and you want to be secure. You want to ask the store owner, you know what, do you have an alarm system? Do you have cameras? Cameras don't do any good. I just catch the people. Who cares about that? I need an alarm system dialed into the police. So if somebody does bust in, the alarm goes off. You got between 30 seconds and 2 minutes for the police to respond. But in today's society, what's going on in some of the places, police aren't coming because they got other things to do. So you might be on your own. So I just am 100% transparent. It could happen right now. What's going on? It wasn't the case pre-COVID though. It really wasn't. So
right. And that's powerful, y'all. So I hope that answers your question, Ms. Shanique. Mr. Philip Webb, y'all, like, share, and subscribe. He's here to help and grow us in a recession. And this is unique. This is a unique opportunity. And he is here to help and serve. Also, too, Ms. Shanique, you can also remove the cassette. That's what Mr. Philip taught me is you want to remove a removable cassette. Mr. Philip does events like before the pandemic when we could all get together. He does events. And so every night he would remove the cash. So if the machine was stolen, they wouldn't get anything because the money is secured with him. And so he would remove the cassette every night.
So what that looks like is when he's talking about is we would do mobile events. So if we had a county fair or a city festival, let's say we had a blues fest in Chicago. I'm from Chicagoland area. So let's say they had blues fest. They would call us up. They would ask us to put 8-10 ATMs into a location, street festival or something like that. We would put the ATMs in there, and then we would stock them full of money. And then at night, when the police moved the crowd out, we would go behind the police, take the monies out, put the cover over the ATM, and we would come back in the morning. We put the money back in. So depending on how much the street festival or the fair or let's say a county, a city, sometimes usually between Memorial Day and Labor Day, cities have a lot of festivals for 4th of July and celebrations of that nature. We would do mobile events. And so that's what he's talking about. And you can make good money in a short amount of time, real fast when you do a mobile event. So that's what you're talking about.
Perfect. You all, I think you have a fan here, Mr. Phillip. I think I live in Frederick, Maryland. I have seen a couple of machines that show PDQ merchants as the owner. Do you own these machines and paying someone to fill them?
Yes, we pay them. I have employees. So yes, we do. So we have employees that fill the ATMs. We create routes and they go out and fill the ATMs. So yes.
Perfect. You got a fan club. You brought your fan club today.
I didn't know. I talked to a gentleman. I talked to a lady today from the Republic of Dominica, not the Dominican Republic, but the Republic of Dominica. Yeah, that's what. And I didn't even know the island existed. So I looked and seen where the island was, and it's over by Barbados, and it's just a small little island. I was looking; it looks beautiful, and I thought she wanted to get an ATM game. I don't even know if it's possible because you have to be deregulated. So she said, I watched you on YouTube. I was really excited about doing it. Nobody's doing it in my country. Can I do it? And we talked about an action plan of what steps she needs to do to even see it's possible. So that was like the coolest thing. I'm like, ooh, I'm going global. So, so,
You are.
so
You
that was
are.
the coolest thing. So, but I'm gonna check that island. I want to see how to get there and go. I mean, it looked beautiful. I mean, it had waterfalls and the water, of course, in the Caribbean. That they got that aqua blue water. That I don't know. I love that kind of water. But so yeah, anyways, I'm just going on. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's incredible. No, you sitting on the beach and just waiting for your ATMs,
Yeah.
just filling ATMs and relaxing. That is powerful. As business owners, so I'm in the business owner. I'm at the gatekeeper, right? I'm at that secretary assistant. I'm trying to get to the business owner, and I have a hard time with my approach. What is that sales talk look like? I mean, how difficult is it to get past the gatekeeper and get that business owner and truly talk them in solving that problem?
So you always got to remember when you're doing a business, and you sometimes we forget this. They have to get to know you before they trust you, and they have to trust you before they're going to do business with you. That it's always the same. So you're going to have to get to know that gatekeeper, and I always call it romance, and you're going to have to romance that gatekeeper. Once
Wine
you
and
do
dine.
that, now you can get there, and those gatekeepers, because look, they protect their job, and their job is to protect the owner. So once they're on the same playing field as you, and you're there to help them look good for their boss or whoever, now it's an easier sell. So you got to make sure that you're not creating a bad situation for them, so their boss can yell at them, say, why did you let this person in here?
Ooh.
You got to say, you know what, I'm bringing something to my boss because I think it's valuable for him or her, and now it'll make me look good. You got to make them look good, and once you do, it's a home run.
That's a home run.
Yeah.
That is a home run. Powerful, y'all. Miss Shanique asks, are there cameras installed on the ATMs?
Some ATMs do have cameras on them. Not every one, but some do. So they'll take a picture of the card holder, and it'll take a picture of the card holder while they're putting into why they're doing a transaction. But if you're thinking, does it take pictures to deter crime? It's not really like that, because it's only activated when the card holder is going into the ATM to take money out. It doesn't have cameras that are on real time to look for criminals, so to speak.
And that's why he recommended that, you also want to connect with that romance, that business owner, and say, hey, he has cameras installed at his location, right? So in addition to the camera that snaps a photo when the card is inserted, the business owner has the actual video footage that can also help in the investigation in the event, if the event it becomes stolen. So that's why he mentioned that earlier on. Y'all. So great question. Very, very great question, Shanique. That's powerful. How much money do I give the business owner? You mentioned a little profit sharing split in the beginning. How much money should I give that business owner? If the fee is $3, how much is reasonable to give that business owner?
So this is a great question, because I see so many that get in the game. They give away too much. They get excited about just getting an ATM in there. They're like, I'm going to make money, which you will. But what we want to do, the reason we get into the ATM business, is to put a little bit money in our family, get some money every month, help maybe pay a cell phone bill or a car payment or whatever, and increase our generational wealth down the line. And what happens is we give too much money away. So what I always say is, let's think about, I'm trying to get around 10 up to 30%. That's it. Which means if I do a $3 surcharge, 10%, 30 cents. Okay. Up to maybe 30%, which is $1. So that's where I want to be. Now, some store owners, because you're new to the game, store owners are not new. A lot of them, they're seasoned veterans, and they're going to ask for 50% right off the cuff. So I just invested in ATM. I bought a course, and now I got a spot, and they want 50%. that return, we call it ROI, return on investment, that now just makes, I can take it from a year to maybe 2 years. And now, how do I make money, Phil? I just bought an ATM, I got all this invested, and I'm not seeing the return that we're talking about. So it's because you gave away too much. Sometimes you got to walk away from the deal. And I teach that in the course. Not every deal is good. Just because the big challenge with this ATM business is you get real excited about putting the ATM in, but it's not about putting the ATM in. It's about the money that we make every month. That's where we get excited about. And people get confused about placing the ATM and making money. And so sometimes we gotta pull back and be cautious of what we're doing and analyze the situation. So again, to answer your question, is 10 to 30% is that sweet spot. More is only good if you're doing the value, okay? And a store owner will tell you when you talk to them, he's got the sweetest store on the block every time. Man,
Always.
they're lining up again. They're lining up here. I get asked 15 times a day for an ATM, Phil. Hey, oh man, I'm so glad you're here. Okay, no problem. We'll put them in. Oh, I want 50%. Every time. Well, and then you got to back them down. You say, look, if you're so sweet, we'll do a sliding scale. And that's why I teach in the course is, you know what, we'll do a sliding scale. If you do 0 to, let's say, 100 transactions, you'll get X. If you do 100 to 150, you get Y. If you do 150 plus, you get Z. Oh, no, I want it all. Okay, well, maybe it doesn't, I can't do business like that. Because it takes, and you got to always remember, sometimes there's a level, it takes a little time to get your ramp up. I call it a ramp up period. Might take 3 months, sometimes 6 months to ramp up. So that whole time you're giving away all this profit to your guy, and you're not there yet. And you might never get there. So we just got to make the right deal, and don't get excited about the location. We get excited about the check at the end of the month. Or so
that's nuggets. That's a powerful question. And so I hope y'all are catching this, right? This is Mr. Philip Webb, PDQ Merchants Enterprise, and he is talking about the ATM business and getting you started and getting with a bona fide dedicated mentor. There is a lot of imposters, posers in the business right now. And they've only been doing the business for about 2 weeks, and now they're already calling themselves experts and trying to get you to buy their course. This is a bona fide, vetted veteran of the industry, and so you're not going to get this anywhere else.
I was on a call yesterday, and a gentleman, he said, I see you on YouTube, and we talked, and he was asking me a lot of questions, and I said, okay, no problem. And he told me he bought a course, and I said, you bought a course? I said, weren't any of these questions answered in the course? He says, no. And I said, well, what happened to the guy that sold you the course? He said, he won't return my phone calls. And I said, well, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I try to help him out and answer all his questions. And I said, I'll try to help you out the best I can. I felt bad for a gentleman, and he kind of lost. And, and that stuff happens all the time. I said, well, get in our, continue to watch. I got almost every question you asked me is on the YouTube channel. So I go there, listen to the channel. Those questions that you asked me are in the videos. I've given that information out, and you can always be part of our group, and that doesn't cost you anything to be part of the group. And you can get a lot of good nuggets, a lot of information. And then if you're ready to take it to the next step, we have coaching too. For this gentleman, he felt, I said, look, I'll give you coaching if you desire. So he was going to think about that, because he said, I didn't get any of the information you're talking about. So. Absolutely. Here is the link, y'all. ATM Mastermind Group doesn't cost you a thing. Please join, subscribe, and connect. Mr. Philip Webb and his team are responsible for that group, and so he is dropping nuggets, and there are others in the group as it grows, sharing and learning and growing together. So here's the link for you all, and we're gonna keep going. The audience is excited today. They want to know, do you suggest cold calling locations, and does that really work? That's from Better Life ATM. So I would say cold calling locations gets you only so far. And what you want to try to establish a cold calling location is do you have an ATM, and do you, as we said before, solve a problem? And if the answer is yes, now you have a name, now you have a number, and you know who to talk to. Now my suggestion is to go to the location and see if there's foot traffic. Does it make sense for you to spend your hard-earned money in the location to place an ATM? Just because they don't have an ATM doesn't mean that it's the right spot. But it does help you establish, and it does work to get in the door most of the time. But again, it'll take a little time to cold call, keep cold calling. So it does work, yes.
Perfect. Cold calling works, y'all. Cold calling, and again, this is in Mr. Phillips' A to Z course that he teaches and that he educates you on. You have another fan, Mr. Phillip. I've been coming across so many locations. Phil knows the barbershop and the antique mall. I've come across a corner store, and it's also a drive-through. The dude there said they have an ATM, but he said the person hasn't come to refill it in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. that's not a question, but I'm sure Mr. Phil is on it. He'll probably, if you want to connect with him, reach out on that Facebook group, reach out and connect with him. And
I'm sorry. Let me see it again. What did she say?
She said, I've been coming across so many locations. Phil knows the barbershop and an antique mall.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Okay.
You know which one she's talking about?
Right. Yeah, we've been going back and forth. Yep. Yeah, she told me today that there was an antique mall that she was looking for, and to see if there was would it make sense to put in an ATM. And so I said, well, it depends on there. Basically, what it is, it's a mall. I would think there was a place, and I don't know if where they're coming from. It's called the Black Line. Basically, it was old, let's say Menard stores or Home Depot or Kmart. And what they did is they got little vendors in there. Now they got maybe about 100, 200 little vendors in there. That's what they're talking about there. And so she was going to see if that was going to be a good spot or not. So.
Absolutely. Perfect. I hope that helps Miss Jarman. Questions from Miss Jarman. I appreciate it. Let's keep it rolling, y'all. How do you know if the ATM machine is running low or empty? How do I keep track of all my locations? If I got, I'm working with you and I'm growing, how do I keep track of all these locations?
So what we do is we give you a mobile app and or a desktop screen. So we call it like an ATM portal. And on there, you can see in real time where all your ATMs are located, what the cash balances are in each one. And then what we do is we set you up with thresholds that if, let's give an example of, let's say we put a cash threshold of $1,000. Once it gets under $1,000, it'll send you a text and or an email that says, hey, John's Bar and Grill is at 980. You might want to think about getting there soon. And we give you 3 different levels of that. Let's say 1,000. We can set it wherever you want, but let's say 1,000, maybe 600 and 200. Where 1,000, I got a day to get there. 600, I better get there today, and 200, I better get there in the next hour. So it'll give you thresholds. You can look in real time your whole route or your ATM. Wherever, if you're working a 9 to 5, you can say, oh yeah, I got to get there tomorrow, or I got to get there on the way to work or on the way home from work. It's not the ATM business, to keep in mind, folks, is the ATM business takes you about 30 minutes a week per ATM. That's what the time frame is for each ATM, for maintenance, for filling the ATM, for going to the bank. That's it. That's all it takes. Okay. So every ATM, just build in another 30 minutes into your schedule.
Perfect. So Ms. Jarman came back and she gave some clarification to us. She said the question was, no one has refilled the ATM in almost a month. How do I get my ATM in the store? So that's what she's talking about. How do I take over or bump that ATM out of there? That's what it sounds like.
You got to get to this. You got to get to the decision maker who put that ATM in. Sometimes you got to be careful, because not be careful, but just be aware. Sometimes it's actually the store owner who owns their own ATM, and they don't have the money to put in it. So that might be a good possibility to put your own ATM in there, because they don't have the money. And so you got to figure out who owns the ATM, step one. And then step two, you got to say, look, they don't care about, if it's somebody else, you say, they don't care about your business. I care about your business. If the ATM isn't full of money, then what you got to do, if its ATM is not full of money, then your customers aren't happy and you're not making money. So what we do is we always keep the ATM full. I always bring up the cash app. I said, or the cash, the app that says, hey, I always look at the ATMs. We always know if it's full, and we keep it full, because if the ATM isn't full, your customer isn't happy and you're not happy, and we keep everybody happy here. So that's the conversation you want to have with them, is to make sure who owns it, number one, and two, will they do business with you because you're always full.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a selling point, Ms. Jarman. That's a selling point for you to, if the ATM hasn't been filled in a month, you definitely want to get to that business owner. And all of you guys, we're talking about legacy building here, right? Mr. Philip Webb is talking about legacy. So that's a selling point. That's an easy selling point. Hey, this ATM is full. If it belongs to the business owner, hey, man, I can do this for you. I can take this off your hands. I have, and they can bring Mr. Phillip in and say, hey, I got 20 years of experience backing me. So this will never happen. Well, I can't say never, but this won't happen again under my tutelage, under our watch. Right. And so you can bring in the expertise, you can bring in the knowledge of Mr. Phillip as he partners and help you close that deal. Right. Great question. So we are talking about, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say is sometimes, you know what, I talked to some students and they said, look, you got 20 years in game. I can't really say that. And so I said, all we do is, I treat you like family now. So you're my cousin. And so you got a cousin in the game. So now you say, look, I'm new. Just be honest. Hey, I'm new to the game. My cousin's been in the business for 20 years and he's teaching me what to do it. And so we're family when you're with me. So that's the way we treat you.
Family, y'all, and it is family. Speaking of family, can I start my child in the ATM business, or is there an age requirement?
No age requirement whatsoever. You could start your child in the business. You just got to follow steps. You got to set up a corporation, and they have to they have to set up a business bank account, and you want to mentor them how to do that. Absolutely, it's a great way to have to earn extra income, and teach them about business and teach them about legacy building and make them an entrepreneur. It's a great way to do that. The only challenge that I would have is the security, and I would just go with them through the process of putting in the ATM, just to kind of, because sometimes when the kids, they're focused on their phone and they're focused on maybe some of their friends, and they got to realize they're carrying money. So I would just go with them through the process of putting the money in. The rest of it, yes, absolutely, they can do it all. No age group, no age limit. We have people in their 20s all the way to 80s doing this business. So there's no age. Yeah. Well, they retired. They retired. They want to do something. They didn't want to sit at home on the couch because they were married. And sometimes the spouses, they kind of say, you got to do this. And the honey-do list was getting too big. So yeah. So so now a couple hours a week, they're out, they fill their ATMs, and you know what? They got something. Their marriage is a little happier because the wife says, oh, he's still working at 80, so.
Saving your marriage is keeping everyone happy.
Marriage is here. Put it on the side. All right.
Absolutely. Ooh, this is a good one. I really like this one. This is a really good one. How much money does an ATM hold? How much do you recommend putting in it?
I would put in so an ATM will hold it. It's going to depend on the denominations. You can put 5s in there. You can put 10s in there. You can put 20s in there. Most people go with 20s. The average ATM can hold up to what they call it a 1K cassette, which means 1,000 notes. So if you fill that thing all the way to the brim, you're looking at $20,000 in the ATM. Some have a 2K cassette, which means it'll hold 40,000. Okay. So, but if you're only putting in 10s, now it can only, and it's a 1K, that means it holds $10,000. So that's how much the ATM can hold. If it's what we call a lobby ATM, that's a basic little ATM that's in the gas station or a convenience store. That's what that would hold. If they're bigger, those are what they call financial institution ATMs. They'll hold more money. It depends on denominations, but most of them have 4 2K cassettes. So you could just do the math on that. And how much should you put in? I recommend you put in the bare minimum to however long you're going to fill it. So what does that mean? If you're going to fill it once a week or once every so many, let's say 8 to 10 days, you want to get enough money in there just to get to your next time you fill it. So it could be $1,000, it could be 20,000. It just depends on what your threshold is. I don't like leaving money on the street that's not making me money. If it's not making me money, I don't put it on the street.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. So did y'all catch that? So just because it can hold 1,000 bills, but doesn't mean you need to use all 1,000. All right. So it doesn't mean that that's going to go in there. Great question, Shanique. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Mr. Phillip, this is awesome. Please, y'all, like, share, and subscribe. We are going to get down to the wire here. It's becoming too much. I know you guys have been waiting all week. Mr. Phillip, what 3 books would you recommend that every man, woman should read?
All right. So I basically, I would say, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. That one, because it's a good book for my marriage. And then the other thing is how to win, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are the 2. I've read, Who Moved My Cheese. I'm trying to study, and the thing is, I'm big right now in a DISC assessment. I don't know if you heard of that, but basically it's how to read personalities and how to. So there's a bunch of books, and I don't have a particular one, but the DISC I would read in a DISC or CS. I'm sorry, and I would look into that. That's a big thing with me right now. So
the DISC assessment. That's the assessment that tells you kind of who you are and who you connect with, right?
Yeah. Yes. So a lot of times it's to me, it's be able to be a better communicator. And that's what I'm trying to do. I try to read, especially when we're all have a personality of a dominant personality and maybe a second one. And a lot of times what we try to do is we're trying to communicate in our language, but you're a different language. So it'd be like me speaking French and you speak Italian, and you don't understand what I'm saying. So I'm trying to work with that. I work with that with the kids. I work with that with customers, and I try to understand their personalities, and it really helps out and how to deal with people on their level would make sense to them. So because people deal with people they like. So if you're a different personality, it doesn't work. So we try to, they're this kind of personality. That's the kind of personality they'll bond with quicker. And so that's you hang around people you like, right? So that's what we're trying to do in business. So that's what I'm studying right now.
See, he's a master, and he's also the student, right? So he's still learning, y'all. 20 years and he's not done learning. Right. Leaders are readers, all right? So keep growing and keep connecting. Who are your heroes and why?
So I would say on that, I don't necessarily have heroes, but I got mentors. Okay, I got people that and I don't know if the same is that the same kind of thing, but
it is.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. Here's. Let me think about it. Okay, so I got a bunch, but Eric Thomas, huge on Eric Thomas. Inky Johnson, huge on Inky Johnson. I don't know, maybe not so much a familiar name, but C.J. Quinney, which is Eric Thomas's basically right-hand man, big. Nicole Saunders, big one. Valerie Humphreys, Candace Simmons. These are all people in the ETA organization, Eric Thomas Associate. Big fans of them. They've helped me in my journey. It's unbelievable. I can't even fathom all the help that they've given me. So, but I've been around that community and I'm a big fan of them. So those are the people that I've learned from over the years.
It's powerful, y'all. How do you give back to the community? My favorite question.
So what we do is I teach faith formation. Basically what happens is you got to get confirmed. I'm a Catholic in the Catholic religion, and you have to get confirmed. And so what we do is we teach how to get confirmed. And I teach 7th grade faith formation, which you have in our church. We got to teach. You have to go to school. You got 2 years to get your first communion, and then 2 more to get your confirmation. You're supposed to basically go from the time you're in 1st grade to 8th. Some of the kids kind of fall out a little, and then they come back in 7th grade. So we teach faith formation, and we teach about the Gospels and what the Bible says in different ways, and we try to relate that back to the kids in their language so they can understand when the pastor's up there giving the sermon. Sometimes, they get lost in what's going on. So we try to break it down, can change it so it's in their language. And then, so now when they hear it in church, they're like, aha, I get it. I understand what the pastor's trying to say. So that's how I get back to the community.
So a man of the word, y'all, he's giving back to the community. He's enriching your lives, not only financially, but spiritually. And that's important, right? In a world that is in a pandemic, we are in a recession with COVID-19 running rampant. He is nurturing and creating whole-rounded people, right? He's not just answering the call of money, right?
Right.
When you connect with the right people, money follows. And so that'll come naturally. But Mr. Philip here wants to also give back to his community and ensure that we're also going to head to the kingdom and nurturing to our spirits as well.
And it doesn't do, I tried really hard to focus on, I got the children and be a good role model for them. It's hard to, and I'm not judging when I say this. It's hard for me to teach my kids about not smoking, and I'm out there smoking in the garage. I can't. I just try not to do that. So you try to be a good role model. I try to be good for my children and try to do what I'm trying to teach them. So at least they can say, well, you're not talking out both sides of your mouth. So I try to do that with the kids. Try to be a good husband. What good is money if I'm divorced? It doesn't work. I want to be a good husband and a good father for the kids. And so that's what I try to do. So it's not easy. I'm going to tell you that. It's not easy.
It's balance.
Yes.
It's finding the right balance. Somebody just text me, and this is off script, so we're backtracking, but we're still closing. They wanted to know what types of businesses make good ATM locations.
I would say you got laundromats make good locations, convenience stores, gas stations, bars that like a bar, restaurant, not a nightclub. I stay away from nightclubs, but nightclubs are good locations. And then we're going to get into the seedy side of the places you could put in. I hate to say it, gentlemen's clubs do well, casinos, and dispensaries. Those are all spots that you could put ATMs in. Truck stops, 24-hour truck stops. Those are the type of locations you want to put. Hotels. But if you're doing a hotel, try to stay above 100 rooms. So if you go below like a Motel 6 or a Super 8, those could do well in maybe a touristy area. But if it's just on the beaten path, it's not necessarily, because they don't have enough rooms, not enough traffic. You got to look for high traffic. And again, you got to solve a problem. Do people need cash?
Exactly. If the owner is complaining to you at that business that his credit card machine is always down, again, these are nuggets. And this is what Mr. Philip is going to teach you in his course. When you take it, when you connect with him. Mr. Philip, how can my audience, my family connect with you? Obviously you all can reach out to me and I'm going to connect you to him, but how can my audience reach out to you and connect with you on the various platforms? What
I would do is we'll put the link up. I would go to YouTube. If you just want to get some basic information, we got a YouTube channel, and you just go there. It doesn't cost you anything. You just go there and you get all the information. We got almost 100 videos up there that you can listen to at your own leisure and see if this business makes sense to you. Okay. If it does, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then we have a Facebook community that, I always say this, I'm so used to saying this, it's free to join for like-minded individuals just like yourself. But you can join the community, doesn't cost you anything, and now you can get into community of other people who are either in the ATM business or are thinking about being in the ATM business. You ask some questions, people can answer questions. We answer a lot of the questions. And then if you want to take it to another level, we have an ATM A to Z course that teaches you from A to Z how to be successful into the ATM business and get into the ATM business. Okay. We have the course. We have an online version. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're one of those people that can learn through online coaching. We have over 70 videos that teach you all the steps: how to set up a corporation, how to talk to business owners, how to set up a business bank account, what the steps are. We give you location agreements in there, which is a contract, and we teach you everything and anything you need to know about the ATM business. If you say, you know what, Phil, I like all that, but I just need a little bit more, we have a coaching that we add. There's a coaching part of that. That's $7.99 for that coaching. Gives you up to 8 hours of coaching in a group setting where you can ask questions about the course. You can ask, hey, I ran into this business owner, this happened, and can you help me out in that? And we talk you through those situations. We also create scenarios for different scenarios that you'll run across in the ATM business. And then you can also message us in the group in case you get stuck or you're in a situation where, like, look, I can't wait for the coaching call. I need some additional help. Can you help me? Absolutely. We're here to make you successful. I'm not here. The reason we created a course was because most of the people right now, they're 9 to 5 people that are looking for a little extra income, a couple $100. It'll make the world a difference. And so how do we do that? But you're not business people yet. We're going to teach you how to be business people. And as soon as we can do that, now we can get you in an ATM game, and now you'll be successful. Too many people just go out and buy an ATM and they get lost and they get hurt. And we're not here to do that. We're here to help you create. A friend of mine, they coined the phrase generational wealth, and that's what we're trying to do here, is create that little bit of generational wealth, that little bit of extra income to help you get just over the hump. Sometimes somebody just needs a little bit more, and we're here to help do that.
Perfect, y'all. And someone asked a question. You mentioned a book. Here's Mr. Philip Webb's book, The A to Z. This is so simple, y'all. You can't forget this. The A to Z approach to the ATM business. So if you want to connect with him, there are so many different levels. I recommend the coaching. I recommend the mentorship, because there are going to be those times where you're going to have a screw in your ATM, and that's not going to be covered in the book.
Keep in mind, so if you're part of the community, even this, look, you buy an ATM from us, and so now we don't leave you in the weeds by yourself. So what happens is you went through the coaching, you bought the online course, you got to the point, you got your location, you said, oh, I just got my first, it's a laundromat, I put it in, and now I placed the ATM in there, and now what do I do? We still continue to add support. We're not leaving you by yourself. You're still getting the support. We're going to talk you through, just like Mr. Norman, if something happened, and you know what, at 12 o'clock, he needed some help. We were there for him. And so that's the kind of stuff that we were there for, person after person, because we're only as good as you are out there in the community. And if you're not any good, we're not any good. So we have to make sure that you're good all times. And when you need us the most is when we're there. So.
Perfect. Mr. Phillip, I want to thank you. I appreciate you. You are a true leader, and we need you, right? The community needs you. The world needs you. We need more like you. And so I appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy day to give back, to pour into me and others like me. So any final words, any kind of final recommendations you want, any nuggets, bullet points you've given a ton of bullet points. You've given a ton of nuggets. Any final words of encouragement you want to give my audience?
I just like to say is, you know what, everybody's always looking for that change, and what do we got to do? And we got to get out of our comfort zone to do it. And I know it's hard, because I struggle with it every day. But to make change, to make real change, you got to get out of your comfort zone and do something that you're uncomfortable with. And so at least take the opportunity to look at the channel and see if it makes sense for you. It's a low cost of entry to just experiment with this if you want to do it. And you can make a real change, add a few $100 every month. It makes a difference. So just check out the channel. It doesn't cost anything. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. So my audience, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us and learn, like I always learn, from Mr. Philip Webb and mentors in the industry. So like always, ladies and gentlemen, this is Marcus Norman from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the #1 podcast in America, and Mr. Philip Webb, the ATM guy. And so, ladies and gentlemen, always take care of your friends, take care of your families, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman and Mr. Philip Webb, the ATM guy, signing off.